And here we are again. Today we're going to be discussing, it's going to be pretty short, since everybody mostly is on vacation this summer. This will be short. So in case you're on vacation and you don't have anything better to do, check out this broadcast. Seriously though, as summer days continue, I want to talk today about the reminders and annotations. So I'm just going to flip to the screen here. 1 second. Let me just go to screen share. Show you what I mean. So as you know, Inbox by Gmail is something that is compatible with Gmail, but at the same time, it's quite a different application, allowing you to do some cool things. For example, you can look at an email and, like for example, this email here. Let's look at, I don't care, so I'm on vacation. And so you're looking at this email, and then you say, well, I don't really want to deal with it right now, so I can snooze it, meaning put it away until a certain date and time by clicking on this little snooze button. And I can also put in, I can pin it and create a reminder for it, in other words, for that particular email. So I can have a combination of both. I can have the email go away, it'll come back at a different time, and I can put in a reminder. And it works really slick and it's really cool. But Gmail, a lot of people don't know that you can do something similar. Not exactly the same, but something similar in Gmail. So let's just flip right to Gmail and see what we can do with Gmail. Basic Gmail, the way you look at the interface and everything, doesn't have any kind of reminders or any kind of features like that shown. You're not going to find it anywhere to have that kind of capability like you see in Inbox. But there are ways. I apologize. Too many devices making noises here. But you can certainly mimic this kind of functionality with what they do have by utilizing additional applications that are part of the whole kind of Google ecosystem, if you will. And the way you do the reminder, for example, if you want to have an email and you want to be reminded about it later, you simply click on that email, and then what you can do is you can click on the More button up here, right above the email, and you say, I want to add it to tasks. Okay, so we're using combination of tasks, and we're using Gmail, and we're also going to be using Calendar. And so over here, you can see that the description of this particular task that it added by selecting that option is exactly what the email subject was. And of course, you can click on it, you can change it if you wish. But the cool thing here is, in terms of this being a reminder, is when you click on the little more details, or edit details, I guess they call it, link right where my cursor is right there on the right, little triangle thing. Then what you get is you get more details you can specify, and where the reminder part comes in is you can actually indicate a due date. So what I can do is I can say that I want to be reminded about this on the 7th of August. So I click on August 7th. Notice that I cannot put the time. In the reminder for Inbox, you can indicate date and time when you'd like to be reminded. So it's a little bit more capable. But if you just want to be notified on a certain date about a particular, have a reminder for a date only, then Gmail can be just fine. You don't need to use Inbox for that. You can just use Gmail. So you put in this date, and then you can also add notes. So you can put as long a description or notes as you wish. So this will be our description, and we can put it as long as we wish. Whatever you want to put in there. You just drop it in there. Okay? And then basically you're done. You can either go back to the list or you can close it. And so this way what happens is, if I go back to my calendar, and if I refresh my calendar, it refreshes every so often, but just refresh it so it does it quicker. You will notice that now on the 7th here, let me make it a little bit bigger here so you can see easier. You can see here that I have this exact item here under August 7th that shows up as a reminder, which means that on all of my devices, including my desktop here, it's going to come up as a reminder that with this description on that particular day, in the beginning of that particular day. So again, the drawback here, or the lack of functionality compared to inbox, is you cannot specify the time. So it's strictly based on a date for the entire day. But the beauty is you're still creating a reminder. It will come up, it will notify you. And so all of that works just like any reminder would. And it's really convenient, very slick. All you do, again, is just simply pick the email you want, click on more, click on add to tasks. And then when you have the task show up, it'll automatically pull up tasks. It will show up here. You can go change it. Like for example, here I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change it to say cancel this order, or whatever I want to say in there. And then I can just indicate, if you don't specify the date, then you're not going to be reminded. But so you always want to make sure you specify the date. And the date I'll put in 7th, tomorrow, let's say. Okay, and that's it. I just close it. I'm done. That's all. And then it'll automatically, you know, on that day, it'll automatically come up and notify me. And of course, if I'm looking at my calendar, I'll also see that on the 7th now, I have now this, cancel this item here. And if you click on it, this is where it becomes even more convenient than just regular approach with inbox, for example. That is where you can see your notes. So over here, I don't have any notes, but if I click on my vacation here, you can see this will be our description. So everything I put in that notes, you can see it nice and clear here. And of course, you can change it, add more info if you wish. So you can change it to be whatever you want, and it automatically saves you not to do anything. The beauty here is that what you can do is when you look at this particular description, also there is a link in that card that comes up. There's a link that says related email. So if you want to go back, since it's a basically since it's a reminder about an email, to get to it, all you have to do is click on this related email link, and it'll drop you into a new tab, and you can see it'll open it right into that particular email in a few seconds here. There it is. Okay, right there. So it's a very convenient way to be able to get back to the information related to this particular reminder. You can put as much additional information as you want here, and it'll notify you on the specified date. Of course, what you can also do is in inbox, when you say snooze something, it takes it away from the inbox, and then it comes back into the inbox at the date and time you indicated. So, which is, you know, it does it all with just doing the snooze thing, which is pretty cool. In this case here, what I showed you, nothing is going anywhere. It just simply adds it to the calendar, so you'll get notification, you'll get the reminder, and you can put an additional description. But it doesn't really, you know, do the snooze part, meaning it's going to go away and then come back. Come back to the Gmail itself. So what you could do, if you wanted to have exactly the same kind of functionality, then you could simply archive that particular message by, you know, selecting the archive option. And that way, it's going to go away from the inbox. You'll still get the reminders. You'll still have the link to get to this email. None of that changes, but at least it's not going to be in the inbox. So it will be similar to the snoozing in inbox from the standpoint that it's going to go away from the inbox. The difference is, like I said, you're not going to have a time capability to indicate time when it's supposed to be, when the reminder should come up. And also, it will not come back to the inbox like it would if you did use the snooze on inbox. You know, that email would actually come back whenever you specify you want to be notified. It'll come back into your inbox again. This thing will still be remaining in archives. So it's not exactly the same, but very similar. And the annotation part I was talking about, that's the part where you just go in and enter as much information as you want, either from here or from the calendar, either way. And you know, you put in information here and so on. So this is kind of a, you know, some people would say, well, all I have to do is just use inbox, and essentially I'll even have more features because I can specify the time, and you know, I don't have the limitations that this thing provides. And you'll be right. I mean, you could use inbox, and it does have fewer limitations. Got a few little, you know, features as part of this thing that are even nicer. The only reason I bring this up here is because many people use Gmail, including myself, even though I do use inbox for some things. For a lot of things that Gmail does, Inbox simply doesn't do yet. There's, I'm not going to go through the list, but there's a lot of things that Inbox doesn't do right now. For example, if I went to look at my social here, and if I wanted to select all of my unread messages, all I have to do is do this and click on unread, and that's it. You can't do this in the inbox. Okay, it seems like it's a simple thing, but you can't do this. At the same time, after I select these two messages like this by saying select unread, then I can go ahead and just simply click on delete button, and if I had 35 messages there, they would all be deleted in one swoop like that. Very simple, very convenient. And that's how I usually do all my morning email checking, is by selecting everything unread, and then simply unchecking any messages I want to keep, because I usually have a lot more messages I want to get rid of than I do want to keep. And so Inbox simply doesn't provide that kind of capability. And so that's one of the simple examples why I don't use Inbox to replace Gmail. And of course, if one thing I have here is I can do the Hangouts, which you can do from that, but from Inbox as well. But one thing you can do is do this phone calling, for example. You can do it from Gmail, but you can't do it from the inbox. And so at this point in time, and there's a bunch of other options too. So at this point in time, Inbox is not exactly a nice replacement for Gmail, because it simply doesn't have all the functionality that's already built into Gmail. And that's why if you wanted to have some of the nice features that Inbox has, like reminders, like being able to annotate something, and just like Inbox allows you to do, I just wanted to show you how you can mimic it in Gmail to a degree, not 100%, but to a degree. So you still maintain all of your Gmail functionality, plus you're able to do some of these other features as well. So it uses combination of Gmail plus tasks plus calendar to accomplish the same, similar, not the same, but similar thing. One of the drawbacks, in addition to what I mentioned in terms of drawbacks to this approach, one of the other drawbacks, unfortunately, is that they don't have the search working for these notes. So if for example, if I was to look at this here and it says add more info, if I was to search for add more info, it will not find anything, okay? Because it's not looking at these notes, unfortunately. And unless you get additional tasks app on your mobile device, which will be compatible with Google Tasks, there's a number of these that are available. So you can have your task be in that app that does have the search capability. If you just use regular, straightforward tasks, you will not be able to search. You can annotate email by doing what I just showed you. So you can create a little description or put in notes to annotate any particular email. You can easily get to it from the reminder itself. All of that stuff works great, but you cannot search for it. So you would not be able to do a search with whatever text you put in. So that's a major omission, in my view, in terms of being careful of using this, because if you're putting annotation on Gmail, different annotations for different emails, you can't find it using search, then it has limited functionality or limited benefit, I should say. But it still has some, and I think in some cases it would be useful to be able to put in a little comment or something else. And you don't need to, you still use the same approach, but you don't necessarily need to have it be used for reminder as well. You can just simply put in today's date, and you can, so like for example, let's look, there's something Zara wrote, and she said, okay, and she said she loves the link. So let's say I took Zara's email right here, and let's say I wanted to put additional information about it. So I added to tasks, and then I change it to say something like since she plus ones and reshares a ton of my stuff, Zara always rocks in my book. And so if I went here and put an additional description, whatever I wanted to put in there, then it will be there. I don't necessarily need to be reminded, so I'm just going to put today's date. It'll be the 5th. And leave it as that. So it will show up on my calendar, and it doesn't really have any meaning in terms of reminding. I don't need to be reminded of this email. So the fact that it shows on my calendar is not irrelevant. But the beauty is that I can actually go back and I can look at the annotation I put in for that particular item, and I can always get back to that email, obviously by clicking on a related email link. So I can do that at any time. And so it's basically, and then when I'm done, if I wanted to do some of this, I can do it. When I'm done, I just click on the little checkbox, and it would cross it out like this to indicate that I'm done with this, which is really cool. And then in the future, if you go, of course, somewhere else, and then you come back and you see a particular item that you know that you put some kind of description in, then you simply click on it, and there is your description. So again, you cannot use search to find it, but if you're looking through your calendar and you're finding these items here that you knew you wrote something about, that's where the description itself, not this notes thing, but the description of the item right here where it says Zara Rocks, that's the thing that it will find. I'm pretty sure. No, it didn't find it either. Okay, so it doesn't find tasks, even description of tasks. So you can't count on the search then. Basically, you would have to use the regular, you're looking at the calendar, you see all these different items. Hopefully the item description will be decent enough where you know what it's supposed to mean. And then if you want more information, you click on it and it gives you more information. So as long as you understand these limitations, you can certainly work around these limitations and make things happen for you, see if it will be of use to you. So it does have, like I said, certain appeal, it does have certain limitations, but certainly has benefits as well. And you can use this approach with reminders and annotations right from Gmail. So with that said, let's close this up, and pretty much that's it what I want to talk about this. And I just wanted to get back to a little pitch for the spec zone. This is a small example of something that can be done by people who, some people don't know that you can do this with tasks. Some people don't know that you can do this with having the link to go back to the email. And there's a lot of these different little things like this that a lot of people don't know. I mean, a lot of people do know it, but also a lot of people don't know it. I keep constantly running into people who, when I bring it up, they tell me that I had no idea you could do this. I had no idea you could do that. And so this is where the whole idea for the service that I'm starting called Spec Zone, this is exactly where the initiative for it came from, is that there is a tremendous amount of people running, especially small businesses, who simply don't know and don't have the time to really invest heavily into learning, quote unquote, all this computer stuff, or internet stuff. They just need to go about their days, handle their family, handle their business, work on their business, improve their business, increase their business, hopefully. But unfortunately, we only have 24 hours a day. And so after doing IT and consulting and development for many, many years, whatever it's been now, some 34 years now, I guess, I came basically to understanding that no matter how much time I spend with somebody, like let's say I go into this 8-hour trip to one of my clients in Idaho, and we dedicated that we're going to spend 4 hours doing training. People get completely overwhelmed with this kind of amount of information being dumped on them in this short amount of time. And they also need to handle their phone calls and this and this and that. So the idea that I put together for the Spec Zone was that I always wanted to make things more efficient for businesses to be able to operate, because you cannot expand the 24-hour limit that we have in each day. And at the same time, there seems like there's always more things to do. So it becomes a dilemma for most people. There's just no time. So what do? You don't sleep. You don't sleep, you don't eat, you don't go outside, you don't see people. You try to come up with any and all possible ways to be able to expand your day somehow so you can get more stuff done, but it doesn't happen. I mean, unfortunately, it's a exercise in futility, as they say. So what can you do? And the only way you can actually do something meaningful in terms of being able to get more things done is if you had more time, which again, we said you're not going to have more time. So if you make more time. And how do you make more time? You make more time with technology. That's why everybody uses technology, or at least tries to. And that's why every business computers, every even small businesses that are 25, 50 people, all of them have IT departments. The reason is because they understand the value of bringing technology to assist them with their business, because in today's world, it's physically impossible to run a business without using technology. And so everybody understands that, everybody tries to do that. But again, the concept of knowing what to do, how to do it, and why they should do it, that eludes a lot of people. People tell them they hire these consultants from the street, and they tell them, go buy these computers, we'll set up these routers, you get this internet connection, so on and so forth, build a website for you, and here's the SEO company, will cost you, a mere $600, $700, $800 a month to get your SEO done. And you're just kind of grabbing your head like, okay, just get this done. We'll pay you these, whatever the thousands of dollars is going to go out, just so you get it done, because I know I have to get it done. And so this is kind of more of a reactive mode than a proactive mode, because people spend money, they end up wasting money by hiring people who quote unquote know more, or at least they seemingly know more. And the results, a lot of times from what I've seen, are not stellar, because you hire somebody for a project, then you get rid of them. So there's a certain amount of money goes out. Yeah, it's more expensive maybe than normal, but at least you'll be done with it after 1 month, and then you can continue on. It doesn't really work like that. Business constantly evolves. Everything you do evolves on a daily basis. Just like we all age daily, same thing happens with our businesses. There's an evolution going on all the time. Same thing is happening with technology as well, by the way. And so I was trying to look, after all these years of being in IT, how do you manage it? How do you bring the value to the business in terms of, so they don't fall into this trap of constantly putting out fires and constantly trying to stay with their head above water. And one of the things that I always did myself in my business, and certainly always both preached it and trained my clients that had enough of an open mind to actually listen, was that things need to be done efficiently. You need to do things efficiently. And so the whole spec was born, which is my initiative from a long time ago, which stands for strictly productive and efficient computing. So you get things done productively, and you get them done efficiently using technology, in this case using computers, and then you get some meaningful results when it comes to your business, your bottom line, and your peace of mind, to be honest with you. I mean, all of this comes into play here. And so the spec initiative, strictly productive and efficient computing, was kind of morphed into an environment, which is now an online environment called Spec Zone. So it's a membership environment. I mean, I don't have any other way to describe it, whereby every single member is going to be getting and spending a certain amount of time every single week with me. Okay? So the amount of time, of course, is set up to be fairly minimal. We're talking about roughly about an hour each week. And that's something that, going back to the point I made before about people just don't have the time, the question can be, okay, I don't have the time as it is. How am I going to find the time to give you, an extra hour when I'm already out of time? And the answer is simple. If you do things correctly, if you do use technology, you use it properly and you use it effectively, then you're going to become more efficient. I mean, there's no question about that. If you, or your business in this case, becomes more efficient, especially if you multiply it by how many employees you have and how many things you can do automatically and things like that, then you will see that you'll be saving a tremendous amount of time. When I say tremendous, it depends on the business, it depends on the tasks. Some businesses have things that they do that are very time-consuming, complicated, and repetitive. And so if you can automate that, then of course you're going to be saving significant amount of time on a continuous basis, and that's where the time comes back. In other cases, time savings may be less significant, but if you look at everything you do, there's always a way to be able to do things more efficiently, always. I mean, I haven't found a business yet that I saw was running at absolute peak efficiency. Okay, maybe people like Google run a decent efficiency in their business, but that's because they know what I know. But if you look at businesses that are not computer businesses, then you always have this situation, and it can always be addressed and helped by minimizing the amount of time it takes to get things done that have to be done. And that opens you up to get more things done, number one, or I don't know, spend more time with your family, go to the movies or something, whatever you want to do. You're just going to have this extra time that you'll be able to spend on whatever you wish. Okay. So the idea is that you're investing like any investment. If you don't invest money into, for example, any stocks, then there is zero possibility of you losing money. That's true. But at the same time, there is zero possibility of you making money. So it's the same thing here. If you invest time, then you're going to get return on your investment. And that's exactly what the concept of spec zone is, that you're investing very small amount of time. 1 hour a week is not that much time. You're investing that much time every single week. And during that time, we wind up discussing your needs, number one. We wind up getting you and your staff trained on various things that you need. One of the big differences in terms of being efficient is, can you go out there and take a class on Excel? There's a zillion of them. You're going to pay X amount of money. You're going to pay, spend some time, 3-day class or whatever it's going to be, depending on the class, and you're done. Okay. First of all, a few months later, you don't even remember half the stuff you learned. That's a typical thing that I'm seeing. And second of all, you spend this money, and the class is now over, and new version of Excel came out, and it's not exactly what you were learning. So this is a simple example, but it makes the point that it's not just about taking training and learning. What makes it efficient is training and learning things that you need right now that are going to actually make you more productive, more effective. That's the important thing. So when we get into these sessions every week, we talk about things that you need done, and we train you specifically on things that you need to be able to accomplish, and nothing more. We're not doing any training on Excel. We may be doing training on part of Excel that you need to execute a certain task for your business, but we're not training on Excel proper. Okay, that's the whole idea here. That's how we can also save even more time, by only concentrating on things that you need and things that you want. But need is the first thing, want is the second thing. In addition to that, so there's going to be some training, there's going to be some development. For example, let's say you come and say, we really need to get feedback from our customers, and right now it's not working very well. We have these sheets, pieces of paper, write your feedback. Let's say you're a restaurant, as an example, and people are writing this feedback over there, and most people never fill this out, and we don't really know what people want to say. It's hard to read, on and on and on and on. You can't easily tabulate it, everything else. Okay, I can set up a solution like this for you very quickly. I mean, it's not going to take much time at all. I would do it away from our normal time. You don't need to, once you explain to me that we discuss it, that this is one of the things that you need done, you don't need to be babysitting me or anything like that, or sitting with me to get this done. I can get this done behind the scenes while you're doing your business stuff. And then I simply turn it over to you, and then you have a ready-made solution, digital solution that you can implement immediately. It's going to be branded to you, your logo, your business, everything. It would never have anything to do with PCS or myself. It's your deal. And so it's a little piece of software in this particular example, which is you get as part of being a member of Spec Zone. You're not paying anything extra for it. It's just basically what gets done. So there are some things that get done automatically in terms of development like this. Other things that are much more extensive and much more involved, we would need to take as a separate. Basically, it's related to Spec Zone, but it's going to be separate endeavor, and we require additional funding for that. But your membership in Spec Zone for some of the smaller things like this includes all these items. Includes some development, web stuff, certainly includes consulting, includes training. All of this will be on an ongoing basis, and all of this will be relevant to what's going on right now. So if you're right now you're executing some sort of a sales campaign or marketing campaign, and you want to be able to track things, that's what we need to talk about, because this is what you're doing right now. Okay? We don't need to be talking about anything unrelated to what's important to you and your business right now. And that's the beauty of having this kind of ongoing relationship, where that you have people that you can come talk to, very similarly to you having your own department for the same purpose. I mean, you have for example, accountants that you use. Let's say you did have your own accountant in your business that works there 24/7, and you can always come in, hey Linda, we got this, we got that. You can talk to them, you can ask them, you can get the information. Now it's all of this is available right there next door, so to speak. But for a lot of businesses, they don't have money or ability to hire these people on a permanent basis, 24/7, pay rent, pay for all their stuff, benefits, everything. So they hire people from the outside to do that. And so a spec zone is similar, where you're getting a virtual, if you will, online IT department of your own, where you can jump into Google Hangout chat and you can quickly see that I'm online. You can ask, you have a quick question, you just ask it right there. Or if you want to step in and have a quick hangout and, let's talk about this thing for 5 minutes. I only have 10 minutes. I got to run. Can we do this right now? Yes, we can. And in addition to these kind of ad hoc deals, then you're going to have a weekly hangout meeting that will be scheduled ahead of time, where we discuss everything and anything related that what needs to be done in terms of your business, kind of like having an IT meeting, so to speak, on a weekly basis. And then we're going to do some training in there. We're going to do some consulting in there, show and tell type stuff. I mean, everything that needs to be done as if we were your IT department, whether it's web stuff or IT stuff, it doesn't really matter. So it's like getting in your own IT department, essentially. The beauty of this whole approach, the reason we're not doing this doesn't cost an arm and a leg, is because it's specifically structured in two ways. Number one, we're going to be spending an X amount, fairly small amount of time together. Like I said, it's an hour a week is essentially what you're getting. And when we're going to be doing this, on a continuous basis, that's one thing. So that's one reason it's less expensive than usual. Second reason is because there's going to be a limit of how many people can be members in Spec Zone, mainly because there are 24 hours in a day, and I don't want to set it up where you have to deal with, how a lot of times you have these big seminars by these, hotshot celebrities, and you buy tickets to go see them, and they maybe even speak for a few minutes, and then they get you their people, some people that work under them to actually conduct the seminar itself. And it's like, whoa, I came to see this guy, and now I'm getting, some interns or something. And so I don't want this stuff happening here. I don't want to scale this thing to the point where I can't handle it on my own, and there's all these people coming in who may or may not be on the level. So the idea is to keep the quality of the membership in place, and to do that, there's only a certain number of people that can take. And so right now we're looking to get, I think we have 21 memberships open at this point as we speak, and that's it. Once it fills up, then there's not going to be any more. The only other way to get into it afterwards would be if anybody decides to step out, and of course that's going to be totally up to them. The Spec Zone membership has zero commitment, basically, whereby if you want to become a member, you become a member, and if you want to cancel your membership anytime, you don't have to specify the reason. Whatever the reason might be, if you want to cancel, it's canceled, done, no questions asked. And so that's the only way somebody can actually come back into Spec Zone membership once it's full, is if somebody else decides to leave. If not, unfortunately, there won't be any way to get into it. So I'm just telling you how it is. And so the prices, to make it so any small business, I wanted to create it in such a way where any small business, literally, one person business, can totally benefit by having their own IT department like that. And because of that, obviously the costs needed to be on a very low end to make sure that anybody can afford it. And so the way pricing model works right now is there's two memberships. One is called Standard, and that's $200 a month. And the other one is called Exclusive, which is $500 a month. And the difference between two, if you go to my collection on Productive Computer Systems page, if you go to collections there and look at Spec Zone collection, there's a number of videos that I've recorded that talk about why you might consider joining, what it is, how it works, things like that. So you can get all the details there, and also the pricing too. But the bottom line here is that if you want to have one-on-one with me all the time, then you have to have the exclusive membership, which is $500 a month. If you want to be able to reduce the cost and still get major benefits in a little different format and a little bit less time, then you spend $200 a month. So either approach works. The 21 memberships are available for the standard plan for $200 a month, and the exclusive is going to be only 10 memberships. And so I think right now we have 9 left. So there, we still have plenty of exclusives, but the other ones are also, there's plenty for right now, but it's probably going to be gone at some point in time. And that's basically the situation with Spec Zone. So we're going to be starting Spec Zone officially on September 1st. Doesn't matter how many people sign up or not sign up. That's when we're going to start with people who did sign up, and then from that point forward, it's just going to be a monthly situation going forward. As long as there are people who want to use the service, then they'll be able to sign up, and as long as there's openings, obviously, and become members of Spec Zone. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me on Google+. You can email me, you can call me. There's all kinds of different ways to get to me. You can just search for Productive Computer Systems or for Oleg Moskalansky, either way. I know the name is terrible. I keep complaining to my parents about it all the time. But it is what it is. And I hope you found this useful. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to contact me. Until next time, thank you.